Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of YHB TV, your handmade business television with Academy of Handmade. We're really excited to have you guys here today. I'm Sharon, co-founder and director of Academy of Handmade, along with my partner in maker crime, Isaac Watson.
No, I'm Simon Doonan. Can't you see?
I was going to say, who today is giving us with the wave in the hair and with the crushed velvet suit. He is doing a bit of an imitation of, you might have seen him, Simon Doonan. I feel like really self-conscious about saying that right. Simon Doonan on Making It. So that is what he got dressed up in honor for. Yeah, so obviously today we will be talking about making it as we usually do here on this show. And then we're going in our last of our series of 80s movies for August. And it's Back to the Future of Your Business. And now it's going to seem kind of maybe like it doesn't totally make sense, but it's actually, we're going to talk about systems today and how systems are the future of your business and can help you understand the past in your business. So excited to talk about that. Today's episode of YHB TV is going to be brought to you by our Jumpstart program. Jumpstart Your Handmade Business is our evergreen program, which is relaunching actually next week. Isaac and I have met thousands of makers over the years, and we noticed that there tends to be one major thing that makes it hard to make progress, which is getting clarity and finding your roadmap to success. Whether you're a first-time maker or business or a seasoned veteran, our self-guided Jumpstart program helps you grasp the big picture of your business by setting goals, knowing your numbers, and honing in on the right resources for the right solution. You can learn more at academyofhandmade.com/jumpstart or by clicking the button below.
So
I
just have to say that the reason that I got dressed up is because I think last week we mentioned this, that Simon Doonan's signature style, which is the calico print shirt with a skinny black tie and a crushed velvet jacket, is not new. I have had this crushed velvet jacket for at least 10 years and this calico shirt for at least 4. So I think the real, this is the secret. I think the real secret is that I am Simon Doonan's style icon.
Possibly.
So, creative ambassador to Barney's, sure. But, I'm sure he follows me on Instagram.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's looking through and just figuring out what Isaac Watson is wearing.
All right, so let's dish. What did you think about this week's episode of Making It?
I liked the lamp project. I thought that was an interesting project. I wasn't super into the shed as a project. I think we're getting into projects that they're trying to make them big and difficult seeming, but I feel like by making them bigger, they kind of are taking away from the element of like the craftsmanship in craft. And I think it's getting more weird competition instead of a focus on like skill and all of that. So that's something I'm not super into in terms of the competition part of this. I love Cam's sliding shed thing, though. I thought that was super cool. And I like that is it Joe schooled Dana on giving your eyeball a rest.
Yeah, that was real good.
Because Dana doesn't know things, guys. If you haven't really, Dana's.
No. I think as a trend expert, she just sits there and searches for things on Etsy all day long.
Yeah, and that's fine. But it's like you have a lane, and I don't understand why you're in this lane over here right now.
But so I have to counter that I really liked both the lamp and the shed project. Probably biased because I have personally built a shed and a shed-like cabin in my life, and so it was really fun to see them get outdoors and like to imagine a whole space and not just a part of a space. But it is kind of I see what you're saying about like the departure from a craft project. It's becoming something bigger and a little different. It did play to Joe's strengths as an interior designer. And
but is she a crafter? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Is she a real?
You don't like Joe? Is that what I'm?
No. I mean, just like, yeah, it plays to her strengths. That's great, but like, craft is not interior design. So, you know, I guess there's something there that like I appreciate her eye, and I really loved what she did. I just feel like the idea of the project just was a little, I don't know. I feel like we're veering into some other kind of territory, just DIY territory or something.
Yeah. So speaking of, I don't know if you saw the sneak peek for next week's episode, the final episode at the end of this one, but they alluded to the fact that the final project will be a wedding.
Yeah. Again, that to me also says less emphasis on skill and craftsmanship, and more an emphasis on this designy DIY situation. And that's where I don't want them to go in this. You're cutting it fast and loose with that snack stadium, guys. Yeah, but if I had the ear of the producers, which I probably don't.
Maybe we will for next season. You never know.
Maybe, yeah. They're definitely.
I do think it's interesting that this shift is representing an interesting, like, what's the overall message of making it for the audience, and if they're going into this like DIY experience designing thing, it really is encouraging the audience to take on projects like this to make them feel like they can do something on their own, but it's detracting from the craftsmanship of an object and what it takes to put thought and consideration into a thing as opposed to an experience.
Yeah, exactly. I think I definitely want people to feel like they can approach and do craft. I think there's a better way to do that than having it be something like do a wedding now. I feel like that treads too much into Pinterest territory and decorator territory, and not, learn how to do something and do it really well. I think that's what I would want the audience to learn, is to not only, I don't want people to just say, oh, I can do that, but to see all of the skill and hard work, that it isn't just an I can do that thing, that you can do it, but it takes more than just, a trip to Joann's and like, a cart full of supplies and, whatever. Like, definitely people should attempt to make and create things, but making and creating things really well is more than just, here's a rando project thrown at you. So.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I was going to add is that, so I actually watched it live.
Heather says, LOL, Sharon, maybe you could be hired as a consultant. This would be my dream, Heather. This would be my dream.
And I'll just be the costume consultant for Simon Doonan.
Yes.
Because I will say, like, putting him in this essentially the same outfit for every single episode is a little much, in my opinion, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So the thing I was going to add, so I watched it live, and I think you streamed it and didn't see the same ads that I did, but I noticed that there was another Etsy commercial, a new one that I had not seen before that was different from the one that Nick Offerman voiced, that aired with the first episode. And I haven't been able to find it online yet. I haven't found it, but it was really different and really interesting, because the premise was that there's this woman hanging a piece of art in her apartment or home or whatever on the wall, and then she like looks out the window and it cuts to like all these other different people and businesses hanging the same piece of art, and she like gets this kind of like look on her face, like, oh no, everybody has the same thing I do, I want something unique. And then she goes to Etsy and finds something unique and specific. And I thought that that was much more to the point than the original commercial that they aired with Nick Offerman's voiceover, which was more about like, you know, everybody needs things, and so buy them here, which is more of just like a general consumerism thing. This was very specific, like Etsy has something unique and something different from what you would normally find. And it was interesting. It was produced very differently. It was very, like, it had some polish on it, I would say. But I thought that was kind of fascinating.
I like that idea more than the other one. I watched it streaming, and sadly that commercial was not on my on my device, so I was not able to see that. But I like the idea from like a marketing perspective from Etsy, which is like going to Etsy, finding unique and creative things. Though obviously, again, with the whole Dana trend thing, is like you're also kind of going there to find what's kind of cool, but you're looking to have that like handmade spin on it, right? Like that it's came from this person. And I feel like that could be emphasized a little bit more. Like people like to buy from the people on Etsy. They're not just trying to buy the stuff on Etsy, you know? And that's why I feel like the first one kind of missed the mark, because it was like, or also kind of missed the mark, but it was like getting cool things for these special moments in your life. But like, they're cool in part because somebody made them that way. Because you could just get special things from like, I guess, any store too. Necessarily, like what makes it special is this. Let's define like why these are special. So I feel like Etsy could still do that. I also, do you see the comments about the volume in the chat, Isaac?
I adjusted my mic a little bit and I'll speak a little louder.
Said that mine was really loud, but I am just on my computer and I don't have a fancy mic like Isaac does. Thanks. So, anyways, what's I gonna say? Yeah, I feel like Etsy's going for this, you know, find the unique things on Etsy. If they enforced their policies regarding not handmade things on their own website and then cleared up all of the made in China junk, I feel like that would actually be much more meaningful with that commercial if they actually walked the walk there. But I digress.
Yep. Speaking of digressing, we should digress into our actual topic for today.
We should, right?
Because we could talk about making it all day long.
Good. And the state of craft.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to shift gears entirely. So this month has been all about 80s theme in your business, because it's August and it's the end of summer, and we want to just shake things up a little bit. And so this week we decided to run with Back to the Future, which in my opinion is one of the greatest 80s movies of all time. And I think that it's fitting because everybody's starting school. All the kids are starting school right now, or about to. And we've been kind of, we've been seeing people talking in our Facebook group about, taking some time off in the summer, or spending enough time with your family that you're not spending as much time on your business. So this is the perfect time to get back to thinking about the future of your business. So that's kind of where that all comes in. And like Sharon said, we are kind of taking that to mean that we should focus on our systems. And the reason behind that is because, so the really cheesy analogy that I drew is that you need systems, because systems are like the DeLorean that you have to build to be successful in the future. So if you don't build your systems now, your future is not going to be set up for success in the same way as if you were like scrambling to get them done at the time. Maybe that's a terrible analogy. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But we're going to run with that. Okay. So first, when we're talking about systems, I want to make sure that we're talking about the right things. And there are a whole bunch of different types of systems. Systems can be your to-do lists or your projects, ways that you manage your projects. You can have inventory systems. You can have systems for managing your money. You can have systems for your production process. You can have systems for fulfilling orders, whether that's taking wholesale orders or just prepping and shipping off retail orders from your website. Those are all different types of systems. And so that basically systems infiltrate every single part of your business. And so that's why we think that it's really important to focus on systems and to develop a systems mindset, because if you're just creative loosey-goosey about everything all the time, then in a lot of ways you could be holding yourselves back.
It also, I feel like, gives a structure and a repeat to your business so that you can trial and error better too, so that you can say, okay, I'm doing this way. So that if you do it all the same a few times, then you can say, okay, this doesn't work because this. Now I'm going to try it this way, right? Like, you can't really trial and error too much if you're doing things different every single time, if there's no pattern, you know?
Exactly. So another thing that we want to get across is that sometimes when we say systems, or they're like, people think of apps and software and digital things. Systems are not always digital. Systems can be analog. They can be your daily routines are systems. There's the things that you do. Basically anything that repeats or recurs in your business or in your life can have a system around it, whether or not there's something digital to help you track it or manage it. And by that same token, systems don't have to cost money. There are plenty of free solutions, whether they're analog or digital. You can build your own systems. And you can even try out a lot of stuff for free to see if it's something that'll work for you before you actually have to pay for it. So I want to just make sure that we're upfront with the fact that just because we're talking about systems doesn't mean we're asking you to spend a lot of money on stuff, because you don't need to, essentially. Ultimately, we think that systems are helpful because they give you the structure to be more productive, and they give you the freedom to be more flexible. Heather's added in the chat, I'm learning to love systems. Think systems, be systems. That was something that came up in our mastermind over the summer. Heather was part of a mastermind group, and I did a whole session on systems. And that was like one of the biggest takeaways that I forgot to write down. And I'm glad you mentioned it, Heather, because think systems, be systems. It's all about it. Nessa also adds that a system can be bad. Like you keep following a system that's not working for you and you don't realize it. And that is exactly true. I have been a victim of bad systems. That's definitely it's essentially a bad habit, right? When you get stuck into a track where you are just doing the same thing over and over again because you don't know any better, or because you don't realize that it could be better, but it's actually holding you back.
Yeah. I think that goes with, I think a lot of times people with systems think like, okay, I see that like everyone's doing this system and I have to do this system. Like, let's take task management or whatever. Everyone's on Asana and it's like, okay, I have to be on Asana too. And I have to like, somehow like, you can just keep doing it and feel like, well, this is the one that's like the premium thing. This is the one that everyone says you should use. You know, there's whole systems like coaching based on setting you up in Asana, right? Or whatever system it is. And then you do it and you're like, this doesn't work for me. Well, it doesn't have to. Like, you don't need to feel like just because everyone else finds a system and it hasn't worked for them. We love Airtable. That is like our thing over here. Like, we love its flexibility. We love how we can, use it for to-do lists and just how you can organize it and that you can upload documents. And we think it's so great. But like, that doesn't work for everyone. Like, not everyone finds that kind of, advanced spreadsheet appealing, but like, we're not into Asana or Trello. Like, I have tried both of those and like, it hasn't worked for me, and I'm not going to force my life into that just because. So, and like, none of these systems are ever like 100% perfect either. Like, there are things in Trello that I wish Airtable had, but it's fine. We cope and we manage and we figure it out. So.
Yeah. And it's also good to know where your systems are limited. I mean, there are things that, like, I was just encountering this yesterday when I was working on an event that I wanted to do something in Airtable, but I knew that it wasn't quite suited for it. And so I ended up going to a Google Sheet and using that instead to track the production schedule. So it's about knowing the limits and knowing what tools, what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and having some flexibility to adapt to the right thing that your system is going to flourish in. Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks back in our productivity episode. And so the same principles apply here, because being productive is a lot in a lot of ways about developing systems. But there are 4 major steps that we think are critical to creating systems for your business that will do so successfully. The first thing is knowing your end goal. Knowing what your goal is going to help you define what you need to do to get there. And that's one reason why we keep pushing our quiz, because we want you to know what your target business is. It's the reason we talk about goals in our Jumpstart program, and knowing your numbers. That knowing what your end goal is the best way that you can inform what you do along the way to get there. The second thing is that you should document your processes. Anytime you're going to create a new system, you've got to be able to document your process for what you're doing now, because that'll help you identify if there are weak spots, or if something's not working, or if there's room for improvement, or you've got a whole bunch of redundancy, for example. And I will give you a perfect example. So Nessa, who's watching with us, is my virtual assistant, and I've been working with her on producing the podcast. And we basically set out to document the entire process for producing the podcast. And we went through it, and it's this like massively long document. It's every single detail. And we realized that there were both some redundancies in what needed to happen, but also some unnecessary back and forths as we were trying to identify what she could take on and what I had to do. There was just too much back and forth. And so we streamlined it and cut down the steps, and it's a way easier now. Sharon, do you have anything you want to add to that, or should I go on to the next one?
I guess, yeah, no, I think that's like, even if you're not doing it with somebody else, even if it's just you in the process, like, write it all down, figure it all out. And then when somebody is like, systems, part of why they're beautiful is because they should theoretically be able to expand with your business, right? Or at least be part of helping to, expand. And so when you get another person on board, or have a VA, or you just want to take some of the tasks off of you, if you have all of that documented, then it becomes easier to just be like, here you go, this is what I need. I mean, even if it's just your spouse or somebody, significant other, like helping you out and being like, okay, what do you need? And it's like, I need this. This is exactly how I do this every time. It becomes really helpful.
Yeah. So step number 3. So if we got know your end goal and document your processes, step number 3 is to experiment willingly. And this goes back to what Sharon was saying about how not every tool is for every person. Like some people work really well in Asana. I don't. Sharon doesn't. It's just, it doesn't work for us, even though other people rave about it. We love Airtable. Other people don't. That's fine. So experiment willingly. Be willing to try something new, to question your assumptions, to challenge the way you do something and try to identify a better way to do it. Because that kind of experimentation helps you fine tune the process and the system. It helps you, kind of solidify the process within your own brain, and it helps you grow in the future. Like Sharon was saying about the ability to hand that off to somebody else. If you're experimenting willingly and you're playing with your process, like you can figure out, okay, am I setting up this system so that that somebody else can do it in the future, then that's a good thing. Even if it's something you want to handle now. And by that same token, the 4th step is don't abandon what is working. Just because there's something shiny and new doesn't mean you have to try it. If you have a system that works for you, if you feel efficient in it, if you feel like it's set up, if it's optimized for the way you work or the actual process, you shouldn't scrap it and throw it in the garbage just because, some fancy new journal or planner or app comes out that everybody's raving about.
Yeah, no, it's important to keep a system and stick with it and know why you're sticking with it. Like if it's genuinely not working or you see that this could be better in some way, yeah, definitely experiment and try. But like, it gets really easy to have shiny object system syndrome.
It's true. I mean, I suffer from this. Like, I'm like, oh, let's try this. I got that way with Airtable. I was like, Airtable is for everything. And then I had to realize that it's not absolutely for everything. It's good for a lot of things, but it has its limitations.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So review the steps again, just because I think they're really important. Number 1, know your end goal. Number 2, document your processes. Number 3, experiment willingly. But number 4, don't abandon what's working. So I think it's important to mention that our Jumpstart program can help in some of these ways because, and we talked about this a little bit already, but it includes some of the foundational systems that can help you start out, especially if you're not sure where to begin with your growth plan or with your strategy for getting to where you want to go. We talk a lot about knowing your numbers and some of the most important numbers to pay attention to. We have a whole resource framework, which is basically a way for identifying the best type of solution to seek for a problem in your business. Those are really foundational things that are important to keeping you on track for hitting your goals. And I think the other thing that it does is it helps you identify those goals in the first place. The spreadsheets that we have, that we include in the Jumpstart program are ask you about your both longer term and your shorter term goals, hard income and sales goals, as well as kind of looking at your production capacity and things like that.
I think the program is super valuable. And one of the most valuable things about it, which I think you're going to get, which I feel like is worth just the price of the course alone, is we're going to be doing a, why am I plugging right now? We're going to be doing a hot seat. So we're going to be hot seating to start it out, just so that you guys can kind of process where you're at, like what is the curriculum saying to you, what you need to do next, and all of that. So I think that's, that's and we love doing the hot seats too. We think it's super fun. But
yeah, it's important to get like hyper focused attention on whatever it is you're struggling with.
Yeah, and we do deep dives, and it's a good lesson for everyone, because usually what one person is struggling with, a lot of people are struggling with too. So, yeah. We also have upcoming for next month is our next set of YHB TVs, and I'm putting the link in the chat so that you guys can make sure to sign up for those. It's going to be a little bit of a short month, right? That we have. No, it's not. Why do I keep thinking that we're going to have a shorter month because of Labor Day weekend? We're not. It's fine.
I will be gone for at least one of those episodes.
Yes, there's a solo one with me only. So get ready, guys. Get ready for my opinions. Get ready for a gossip sesh without Isaac. So anyways, yeah. So again, thank you for being with us for another YHB TV. Make sure to register for September's. Check out Jumpstart if you haven't. Take the quiz if you haven't. And then also get into our Facebook where you can talk more, Facebook group where you can talk more with us as well too. So thanks so much for being with us. We really, really had a good time and good conversation in the chat, guys. Bye.
Bye.